homework deadlines, staying up late to review for an exam the next day, ultimate bonding moments with your classmates, and oh, the smell of fresh notebook leaves. It's fun to look back, sure. But right now, the only way to go is to move forward. Globe is set to make this school year a lot cooler. It's time we create better learning opportunities for students of all ages. And the way to do it is to ride the wave of technology. Imagine waking up to a world where you can learn your lessons even when you're at home, or just about anywhere in the world, all with the help of Globe and its partners. D2L has been transforming the way we see the learning environment for over 20 years now. They continue to keep up with trends and the ever-changing world of technology.
As an education company and a partner to thousands of educators around the world for more than 20 years, our key goal is to help students like you achieve greater heights when it comes to learning. Our Brightspace platform will aid you along the way with its easy-to-use features, complete with tools and functions that will surely give you a great learning outcome. And we're constantly seeking ways to evolve our learning environment so your experience will only get better. You know, honestly, I'm pretty excited for you guys to learn the D2L way.
Globe as an institution is dedicated to empowering every Filipino succeed in reaching their goals and preparing for any challenge they may face. Here at Globe for Education, we can offer you helpful information to empower you in making the decisions required to take your school to the next level. Our wide range of specialized solutions and technologies, as well as our business-grade connectivity, can fit your institution's needs regardless of digital readiness or maturity. Learning never stops, even in these changing times. So together, let's discover new ways to create, collaborate, and communicate. Together, let's recreate the way we learn.
We're so ready for our first lesson. The question is, are you?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Abalos. I'm the segment head for education of Globe My Business. So today we are joined by some of our partners in the education industry. So our first our first guest rather, has been living and working in Asia for the last 29 years. Originally, he's from the UK, and he started working in Asia for Apple Computer. Following Apple, this person moved into the telco industry, working for a number of global telco vendors across Asia Pacific. So in 2008, he became CEO of a fully online business school in Singapore, Universitas 21 Global, and with 21 of the world's leading research-intensive universities. So Nick is currently the regional director at D2L, which created Brightspace, the learning management platform that is recognized globally as the number one LMS technology for next-gen online teaching and learning. So ladies and gentlemen, here's Nick Hutton. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Mark, and many thanks everybody for joining us today, this morning. Let me quickly share my screen. In true
Nick, before you
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Nick, before we start with your presentation,
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce first our two other guests. Okay, so with us also is another colleague of Nick, Moses Lim. Okay, so he's an Asia Pacific Consulting System Engineer at Polycom, and now he works at D2L. So Moses is responsible for the video conferencing infrastructure support for partners and the sales team in Southeast Asia and Asia Pacific region for customer satisfaction. So he is a firm believer in ensuring customer satisfaction. He works also closely with service providers, partners, including BT Singapore, Telstra Global, and Vodafone to bring the best value for customers from pre-sales through the implementation. So let's welcome Moses, D2L Systems Engineer.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to meet all of you. I hope you're going to have a wonderful time today.
Okay. Good morning, Moses. And last but not the least, okay, he's the head of the CIRC EdTech office at the De La Salle College of St. Benilde. It's his second time to join us here in our e-Skwela session. So we're already in our 10th session. This this person was with us during e-Skwela 1 on our online webinar series. So he has been at the helm of the EdTech office of the College of St. Benilde for more than 10 years. He is, however, first and foremost a teacher at heart. His mixed background, coupled with his degrees in counseling psychology, anthropology, and learning and teaching, has allowed him to teach a myriad of courses simultaneously under different programs like psychology, gastronomy and culture, and digital learning in the workplace for professionals. His firm foothold in both IT and academia has been proven instrumental in furthering Benilde's digital learning journey. So let's welcome Sir Rogelio Tugel de la Cruz.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you'll have an insightful day with us, with Moses and Nick. Welcome,
Okay.
also. Thank you very much.
All right. So before we start with Nick's presentation, so let's do like a quick checkup. So how are you coping with this new normal, Nick? I know that Singapore has already resumed work, and a lot of people have been going out.
Yeah, I mean, I think in Singapore we're luckier than most. It's a small population, so it's very easy to manage. We're still under partial lockdown, as it were, but we are able to move around a little bit more than probably many countries, including the Philippines. So we're in a good state here. Obviously, schools and universities are still challenged in terms of how they conduct classes and what technologies they use, and obviously that's something we're going to be talking about today and delve into in a deeper fashion. But yes, things in Singapore are starting, I would say, to get a little bit back to normal.
Now let's go to Moses. Is there something that you discovered during the lockdown, like a new hobby or something that's interesting for you?
You mean personally, Mark?
Yeah, personally.
Personally, well, I've learned quite a bit of cooking. And of course, learning it digitally from, online,
Okay.
taking videos and stuff, consuming that, and after cooking, consuming what I cook.
Okay. And Sir Tugel, welcome back to e-Skwela.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you? What keeps you not so busy? Because you've always been busy since the lockdown started.
Yeah. If Moses learned how to cook for himself, I learned how to bake my own bread.
Wow.
Using online assistance as well. But I became better at it, actually.
Okay.
So it sounds as though when we all get together again, we're going to have a good feast, aren't we?
Yeah, I know. All right, let's start with Nick. Nick is going to present something for us. So take it away, Nick.
Thanks, Mark. I will do it right this time. I'll share my screen the correct time. Hopefully you can all see it in a second. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so bridging the gap, and that's what the theme is today. But just to start off with, let me say that teaching is not necessarily learning, and I think it's very important that we understand that. With the advent of all schools having to go online, many, of course, have adopted for the quick, what you might call short-term approach by using video conferencing products like Zoom, we're using it today, MS Teams, Google Meet, to try to replicate the face-to-face class experience by delivering the same classes using those tools. Now, the reality is that while teachers are teaching, you can't guarantee that students are actually learning. if they've got their video off, are they actually taking notice? Are they involved, et cetera, et cetera. So what are some of the tools and technologies available for teachers to be able to deliver an outstanding learning experience to their students online? That's essentially what we're going to do a little bit of today, and we'll look at some of those shortly. Meanwhile, students have changed. If you've been in education for a while, this isn't news to you, but what exactly does that mean? First, it means that those traditional students, the ones coming right out of high school and entering college, are different today than they were 10 or even 5 years ago. Today's students expect to be able to use whatever devices they choose to access learning content, take notes, gather data, and communicate frequently with their peers and instructors. And more than 70% of Generation Z, Gen Z students think it's important to be able to design their own course of study. They prefer to learn in their own time and in their own way. And Gen Z students seek education and knowledge in real time. In other words, they use social media channels as forms of research, and if they could, they would multitask across 5 screens. And I think it's important to understand that more students today tend to start working earlier. They leave school without necessarily going to college, typically because they do need to start working. There's a growing number that then want to go to college to obtain their degree to enhance their ability to get a better job. And this is pretty tough. I mean, considering that they have to juggle their work and probably their family with what is known as the work-life-learn balance. So consequently, they need flexibility in their education. And students today are used to being served what's relevant to them, even before they know about it, from Amazon to Netflix and everything in between. And this, of course, is very exhausting for teachers to keep tabs on every student's needs in the classroom, unless, of course, technology is used to achieve it. Students tend to resonate better with interactions in an environment that they're accustomed to, which means it should be digital, and of course, it should be through their mobile devices. And as technology continues to evolve, there are only going to be continual changes to come, and they're going to be rapid, which is what everybody expects in the future. And students today have to be primed to be lifelong learners and not just test takers. And of course, a generation that's brought up online will expect learning to be like all of their other experiences, engaging, personalized, and available whenever and wherever they want it. And for educators, the same data-driven approach that allows Netflix to target new shows to its viewers gives you the ability to deliver more personalized learning experiences, to identify learners at risk earlier, and to improve learning outcomes. Now, this is an example of a fully web-responsive teaching and learning interface, where the full learning management system is available across any device, regardless of its size, its operating system, or age of that particular device. And what this does is give both teachers and students the ability to access the learning management system anywhere and at any time. And we'll show you a little bit more about that shortly. Now, with the rising need for flexible education options comes the appeal of massive open online courses and other online education alternatives that are often free. So how do traditional schools and universities then stay competitive? Social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, blogs, YouTube, and others which were initially known as mere infotainment or info entertainment spaces, have already become new learning spaces for interaction amongst students and teachers, idea sharing, tutoring, and training, just like the learning spaces in the traditional classrooms. And the World Wide Web allows connectivity and communication, which means students have options with what they want to learn, and teachers have the option of what they want to teach without having to consider geographic location. The options for both teachers and students become unlimited. The key is adopting the technology that will allow you to deliver engaging education experiences at scale while making it more accessible to more learners. Think about building programs that meet the needs of lifelong learners, courses that can be taken flexibly in small chunks that allow people to continually upgrade their skills. Think about the opportunities to partner with industry to identify the skills they need and develop courses and programs to help people acquire those in-demand skills. Think about the growing number of people who can access the internet via mobile and what that means in terms of delivering learning experiences to them anytime and anywhere. And think about how you can best use classroom time. That is, when you get back into the classrooms, where you can interact with learners and learners can interact with each other and move other learning tasks online using what is called a hybrid learning approach. Think about what you would do if you had the data to know exactly how well each learner was progressing in real time and could quickly identify which students are at risk and then put in place a more efficient learning path for them to get the best possible outcome. Having said all that, I think we all know that great technology alone isn't enough. As Sir Tujil probably will mention and probably is known for, the magic happens when talented, innovative, and dedicated educators get their hands on innovative tools and take advantage of new ways of teaching to deliver engaging, effective learning experiences to more people. So before I finish and hand over to Moses, let me show you an interesting chart. On the left, you can see the evolution of the web from 1.0 in the early 90s to where we are today. You'll obviously be very familiar with this, given that we all use the web every day. What you may not be so familiar with is the chart on the right, the evolution of e-learning from its early days in 1995 to where we are today with e-learning 3.0. As you can see, the functionality and the tools that we have available now within e-learning 3.0 are much greater than just simply delivering classes using video conferencing technologies. Teachers are able to really personalize their interaction with their students, as well as being able to keep their students fully engaged in an online class environment. So I think this is a good segue into the next portion of the webinar today. So let me hand you over to Moses Lim, who is D2L Senior Solutions Engineer for Asia. Moses will now show you some of the tools and the technologies that are available today in a modern learning management system to help teachers bridge that gap with students in an online teaching and learning environment. Moses, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nick. And once again, very good morning to all of you. And I hope I can share some insights with you and tools that Nick has just mentioned about how a learning management system such as Brightspace will be able to help you bridge the gap. All right, let me first of all start sharing my screen. Okay, so I will take you through an example of how a teacher is going to be using Brightspace as an LMS, using tools or showing you tools that go beyond what you would get out of a video conference type or video collaboration type of a tool. Now, there'll be a number of tools that I'm going to be going through. So just as I go along, and I hope you're going to get some ideas when the next time you're teaching your next class. All right. So I'm logged on as a user by the name of Renee Valladolid, and he's a teacher in a school. Right. So he will be teaching multiple courses and he might be managing different classes, different students at the same time. So quickly, just showing you how the user interface should look like. And in this particular instance, you're looking at a very simple, easy to navigate user interface. Now, Brightspace presents to any user a very what they call a elegant kind of minimalistic kind of UI. So it's really easy for any user, whether you're a student or a teacher, to start looking at it and be able to just get on it very quickly. So with that, I'm going to quickly go into one course that Renee teaches as an example to show you. Now I'm going into the course called English 101. Now, first and foremost, I think in terms of teaching and learning, content forms a very big part of that a course or a class. You would see that content building and content should be very engaging. So I'm going to take you through an example very shortly. Now, as a teacher, all right, a teacher is given a chance to easily use the course homepage within Brightspace to post important messages, like using what we call the activity feed, and I can easily post a important message or announcement to my students, to my class. So as you can see right off the bat, you'd see that there's a very quick tool that you can start getting users or students engaged, right? You can also very quickly post an assignment right at the course homepage so that students can get in and they'll be able to see that popping up. So it's all about engagement. It's all about usability. And within the course homepage, you get to see things like course calendar, which basically would reflect, if any, assignments, quizzes, all the due dates can appear in the course calendar. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into the content structure of English 101. Now, on the left side, you'd see that the whole structure is displayed within English 101. And one look, you can tell that, hey, it's so easy to see that, all right, I can see English is being broken down or divided into multiple parts. And in this case, these parts that I've just mentioned are called units. You can also call them as modules. You can name them as weeks if you prefer to, so that you can basically have a way to define how this English 101 is going to appear to your students. Okay, you structure it the way you want. It's completely flexible. Now, you can see that there's a welcome part of it, a unit 1, 2, 3, 4, and then followed by a last day. Say, for instance, Renee is still building this particular English course. He can continue to work on this and then start building another unit, for example. I'm going to call it Unit 5, Writing Styles. Okay, so by creating a new unit, I'll see that right away being displayed here once this is completed. So working with content is super easy. Now I can build new content. I can also, throughout my years of teaching, I might have existing content that I have already built over time. I can easily, as you can see, I've just brought in the Windows Explorer. I can easily bring in content just like what you're seeing here, Word, PDF, and PowerPoint, directly drag them across and drop them into Brightspace, just like that. So by doing that, I'll be able to easily build content that basically bring in the content that I have been using all the while and just drop it into Brightspace. And that becomes part of my English course. And I can easily just rearrange them. Yeah. So as you can see, the UI is super easy. All right. Just let me get right order below here. Yeah. So I've just easily built content and brought in content that it's actually applicable to this particular new unit called writing styles. I can also easily within Brightspace start creating content from scratch by adding in web-based kind of content, or I can add videos, I can add images, making it as engaging as possible. I can even add an external web link which may contain some learning materials that is relevant to this particular topic. So there's a lot of flexibility that I can build within Brightspace uh, content itself. Even like this here as an example, I can build and embed video content directly into Brightspace, just like this, and create lots of different kinds of engaging content. As you can see, this is an example of a video where this is from an external content video content provider, and it's actually streaming out video directly embedded within the browser. So as you can see, content can be super flexible, super easy to create within Brightspace. Now, talking about content, there are many other tools. Now, a student may consume content and view content, and there could be other tools such as quizzes, assignments, discussions. All these are different kinds of learning activities that you can add into the learning space, right? In this particular example of English 101, I could have different quizzes, for example, added into different units within the course itself. I can have different assignments. I can have different discussions to allow students to be able to engage in some kind of collaborative sessions, share ideas, post all the different kinds of ideas within discussion forums. So you name it, there are different basically activities that you can add into Brightspace. Now, as I said, some example would be like assignments tool, the assignments itself. So assignments allow a teacher to post up um, types of assignments such as group assignments, individual assignments, so that you can assess students on the way that they are understanding each topic or each unit. So you can have lots of assignments that is within one unit, or you can have one or two. Again, it's all about flexibility and the way you want to structure your course. Teach the way you want, it's all about flexibility. So I just want to show you an example of how an assignments tool within Brightspace can look like. I'm going to show you this particular assignment called In-Class Poetry Slam, where students have already submitted and uploaded their assignments. So let's take a look as an example of this particular submission by the student CJ Briggs, right? So assignments, getting in there, Renee gets into that assignment, and you would see that the way that Renee can mark and evaluate this is really quite wonderful. You would see on the right side, all the tools are there. Email the student, send a student instant message if the student is online, right? You have things like this particular assignment happens to be aligned with a rubric, which means that I can use the rubric that's aligned with this as a structured form to mark, right, based on different criteria, selecting the different level of proficiency, and from there, get Brightspace to auto calculate the score just like that, right? So by doing that, I have a very structured approach to marking every single assignment, right? I can provide feedback by typing out the feedback here. I can, add an image, add a video, which is going to be relevant to this particular feedback for this particular assignment. So it's really, really very powerful. Now, on top of that, Renee, as a teacher, can also use the built-in annotation tool, like what you're seeing here, to do all the markups, right? For example, or adding in inline feedback. Okay, I'm just putting in a feedback here saying, hey, great choice of words used for this particular phrase, for example. So when I'm done with that, and once I publish, the student called CJ Briggs will receive this as an inline feedback, and all the scores that are the score for this particular assignment, and he'll be able to use this as a way of getting feedback from the teacher Renee. So that's one example of how you as a teacher can start to grade and really bring this whole gap closer. Just one example, right? So that's on assignment. And then, of course, like I said, you've got other tools such as quizzes. Again, with quizzes itself, you can deliver different quizzes, or whether they are graded or non-graded. By the way, you can grade or don't grade your quizzes and your activities. So you can add them into different parts within the course structure of this particular example, English 101. So you might have a quiz followed after every topic, or you can have a quiz at the end of a unit, right? So you have all these flexibility to decide how you want to structure your course. Okay. Since I was talking about grades, there's a built-in grades tool within Brightspace, definitely, of course. And this grades tool allows you to set up different grade items so that you can decide, all right, hey, there are so many activities in this course. I can have some activities that are graded, some that are not. Now, those that are not graded can be used as exercise for students to practice, and those that contribute to the grade book itself will be the actual tests as well as exams that you can place within the course so that they can contribute to the final grade within each course, right? And of course, you as a teacher can use the grades tool to mark and grade the different assignments. Of course, whatever that you've seen earlier, as a teacher, when I do all the marking, those will automatically be pushed into the grade book if I mark it and if they are all graded. And this tool, the grades tool that you're seeing now here, is for me as a teacher to, if I feel that I want to override certain grades, I have a choice to, put this as, for example, override that, for example, right? So this is a way for me, again, a lot of flexibility. Mark it first, do all your, adjustments in the grade book itself. So once again, it's about flexibility. It's about doing things that you need, doing things that work for you, doing things that make sense to you, right? As a teacher. Right? So I did mention about using rubrics. Brightspace includes a rubrics tool where you can set up a certain set of structured approach to marking your assignments or your discussions, for example, so that you can have a way to better grade your students. Now, how about other tools? I've spoken a little bit about quizzes. I've spoken a little bit about assignments and discussions, right? So other tools within Brightspace, okay, um, things like a tool such as portfolio or e-portfolio, right? That's a tool whereby a student is allowed to capture their learning journey, a place where they can store their experience, right? The learning experience, a place or a tool whereby they can, share their achievements. For example, as a student might be able to, based on whatever scores that they have on specific assignments, they can add that as part of their e-portfolio, so that that becomes a learning evidence or becomes part of the learning journey throughout their journey within the school cycle itself, so they can keep track of how well or how they have achieved in terms of their throughout the learning life within the school or the institution, right? So you have all these tools for your students. You have teaching and flexible teaching kind of tools for your teachers. So all these are within Brightspace, the elements itself. Now, speaking about content, speaking about different types of learning activities. Next thing that I want to kind of give you an idea of is how a teacher uses all the achievements or all those learning analytics that have been captured within Brightspace, in this case, in this course called English 101. Now, as a teacher, I'll be very interested in keeping track of progress of all my students. Right? In this case, class progress is a tool that helps me as a teacher to track individual performance within English 101. So in this example that you're looking at, I would see a dashboard of all the students that are enrolled in this course. And I can see that there are what we call 4 different sets of progress indicators, right? I have 9 that I can choose from to be displayed, or here, up to 4 can be displayed. I can view and see how much content each student has completed, right? A little progress bar here, quizzing, or how they have scored in different quizzes, right? All these are indicated with colors so that you can tell from here who you would need to put in a lot of attention in, right? If you feel that assignments is a very important aspect that you need to monitor, you have that listed here so that you can tell who has submitted, and they've got scores as well. And if you feel that discussions is a great part of this particular course, you want to monitor how the students are actually posting and replying to threads or the discussion forums, you can have that listed here as well. So from this perspective, as you can see, one look you can tell Michael needs to be focused on because he's not really performing that well. So you can have a choice to easily and quickly act on him by sending an email or send him an instant message if he's online. Or even better still, if you want to drill down into more specific on how he's actually behaving in terms of each individual kind of progress indicators. For example, looking at content, drill down into specifics, how he's actually using content. For example, looking at poetry, unit 1, right? Each topic, how many visits he has been, he's been to this particular topic, how much time he's spent on each topic, all these are tracked, and from here gives you a lot of insight of individual students, how they are, uh, in this case, in looking at content. You may find certain students, they might be struggling with one piece of content or topic where they might have multiple visits, spending lots of time, for example, and then still this particular student is still not grasping this particular topic. So from that perspective, you would know exactly how you want to focus and where this student is not doing well. And then other bits like looking at discussions. Is this student, Michael, is he active with his other peers? Is he engaged socially? So from this, it also tells you a story. You can even drill down and see whether the student is actually, giving quality kind of replies by jumping in and having a look at how he's actually replying to the threads. So again, it's all about keeping track and helping students by tracking all these kinds of analytics. Now, next thing that I'd like to show you as a very powerful tool is using what we call intelligent agents within Brightspace. It's great that a teacher can easily use class progress to monitor different kinds of performance indicators to help a teacher further engage with students and to help with a teacher in terms of monitoring students. Intelligent agents gives you a very powerful way to stay a little bit more in the background. What do I mean by that? Now, intelligent agents in Brightspace allows you to create monitoring agents. These monitoring agents, when you create them, I mean, it's basically very flexible, allowing you to tell Brightspace what you want to monitor and how you want to act on specific situations. So, for example, this particular agent has been created. It's called low score on a quiz. Let me show you what it means. So, in this particular agent called low score on a quiz, it's been designed to tell Brightspace that in English 101 course, if any student scores less than or equal to 60% on this particular quiz called poetry terms, take the action to email or send an email to any user that meets that particular condition. And that email says that, hi, username, okay, you've earned a low score on this particular quiz. Be sure to review this particular piece of content, and then you can schedule yourself to take another attempt of quiz. So basically, Brightspace is kind of helping you to monitor the situation on this particular quiz. So you can create as many agents as you want to help you as a teacher to monitor different situations. A lot of schools may use this to track login activities, right? Or maybe this particular course activity. If the course English 101 has not been accessed for the past 3 days, I want Brightspace to send an email to the student that meets that particular condition. So I'm actually telling Brightspace to help me do the monitoring and at the same time trigger an email to remind the students to log in if they've not logged in for the past 3 days, in this case, in this example. So from this perspective, Brightspace is helping you monitor and helping you take action so that students will always get reminded, they get nudged so that they will then act based on what needs to be done. All right. So again, it's all about you getting use of this particular platform, making use of this particular platform to do some part of your job, helping you, use your time a lot more efficiently. So again, also this particular tool allows you to keep students engaged. All right, so much for a course itself. Now, because Renee might be teaching multiple courses, right? He would have possibly lots of different courses where students would start to submit different assignments, just like what you're seeing here. Different courses that Renee is teaching may have different assignments that have been submitted, different quizzes and different discussions that they have actually submitted where Renee needs to mark and evaluate. So instead of going into multiple different courses individually, Brightspace includes quick eval as a way for Renee as a teacher to be able to quickly look across multiple courses, what kind of activities need to be graded or evaluated. So a single dashboard that shows a teacher every single activity that needs to be graded, whereby from here, as a quick eval itself, you'll be able to tell how much work you need to work on, right? From here, at the same time, filtering tools allow you to tell Brightspace what specific activity you want to focus on, right? So that you know what needs to be prioritized, right? You can also use the filtering tool to tell Brightspace, all right, since I've not been marking this for uh, marking a lot of activities, I can tell Brightspace any activities or any submissions that are older than 7 days, I want to mark them, focus on that, right? So the idea is giving you this quick access, a quick way to filter off all the different activities and allowing you to prioritize. And of course, using the activity tab here, again, you see a gauge of how much you need to work on each activity so that you can plan out your time, how much time you need to work on each course. So a great tool for you as a teacher to be able to evaluate all your user submissions or your students submissions. Now, I've spoken quite a bit about Brightspace tools within Brightspace. Now, Brightspace being flexible also means that it allows you to, as a teacher within the platform, to integrate with external tools. Nick earlier on did mention about video conferencing tools or web collaboration tools, such as Zoom, such as Microsoft Teams. Those are web collaboration tools which can be part of what we call can be used for teaching, remote teaching kind of styles of teaching. So Brightspace does allow all these tools to be integrated within the platform. So for example, okay, as a teacher using this platform, Renee, if this integration has been set up, you would see that Renee can easily use. In this case, I've got an example of Microsoft Teams configuration that's been set up. Microsoft Teams can be an integral part of Brightspace. which allows me using Brightspace for other teaching and learning kind of rich learning and teaching kind of tools. In this integration, it means that with this particular example, Renee can easily use from within Brightspace, create a meeting link in Microsoft Teams so that this particular meeting or session or a live session can be used to allow students to join, and so that we can all become part of a live session, just like what we are doing now. Similarly, if I have a Zoom integration, I can have such an experience where a meeting invite can be created within Brightspace to allow teachers to be able to set up a synchronous teaching session directly from within Brightspace and have that integrate into the learning environment. So that gives you another way on top of what I've shown you earlier for a teacher to teach. So once again, it's all about flexibility. It's all about bridging the whole gap between teachers and students, as what I've just shown you, right? More than just content and different types of learning activity tools, monitoring. All these are part and parcel of the whole teaching and learning experience, right? Over and beyond that, adding in additional web collaboration and teaching kind of a tool and making it a more complete solution and more complete teaching and learning experience. All right, I guess with that, I'm gonna hand it back over to Mark for the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses and Nick. Very interesting. Um, I've used actually Brightspace in my postgrad, and I may say that it's really very easy to navigate. And one of the things also that I like about it is that when you organize the lessons, it gives you a glimpse of what's going to happen for the entire week. So as a teacher or a student, it's going to be easier for us to make sure that lessons are planned and things are going easily in terms of teaching and learning. Now let's go to Sir Tujal. So Sir Tujal in CSB has implemented their Brightspace, which we call Big Sky Benil. So he will present to us something today. Right, take it away, Sir Tujal.
Okay, sorry about that. I have no presentation for today, but I can show you our where our repository for support our videos to the site that we use to help our support our community, and also our YouTube channel, because all our videos relating to Big Sky, but not only Big Sky, but all the things that we have been doing for the past years are there. So you can probably have a glimpse of the things that we have done in the past years. But allow me to first share a video about how we addressed the pandemic. Before I share my personal story, how we transitioned the entire community, and hopefully, if we still have time, how we also help the Commission on Higher Education train some nationwide faculty. Is that okay? Can I share my screen now?
Go ahead, Sir Tujal. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Getting started. FAQs about online learning. Our decision to use online learning technologies may have been accelerated by recent events, and some of our personal experiences may have led us to question or doubt the effectiveness of online learning. Set your mind at ease. Here are some of our answers to some of the more frequently asked questions regarding online learning. Understanding full online learning. An online class has been defined by the college as a class that is fully conducted in an online environment. That is Big Sky Banil, either in a synchronous or an asynchronous mode. Online learning is effective as classroom learning. Yes, if the right tools are used in tandem with the appropriate strategies. As the saying goes, it's not the bow or the arrow, it's the archer. Hopefully the rest of this guide can help you on your way to becoming a better archer. Can any course be delivered online? There are saying goes, it's not the bow for an online course to succeed. Theoretically, any course can be taught online. However, since our highest priority is maintaining the quality of learning, we will not recommend for a culinary lab class, for example, to be delivered in full distance. Not because it cannot be done, but because these types of courses have intended learning outcomes that can only be achieved through live, in-person skill and product demonstrations using specific equipment students will most likely not have at their disposal. We therefore leave it to subject matter experts to determine which modality is best or possible given specific target outcomes. How is full online, full distance different from blended and hybrid learning? For us, in Benilde, the quickest way we can differentiate among these delivery modes is by the amount of face-to-face contact you have with your students. For example, blended learning is 100% face-to-face plus online supplements. Hybrid learning is 50% face-to-face, 50% online. Full distance is 0% face-to-face, 100% online. In a blended learning course, all instruction occurs in a face-to-face learning environment. Technology is used simply to enhance the instruction. Regular face-to-face classes meet as scheduled. Online course materials serve to supplement and build on what is covered in the classroom. In a hybrid learning course, face-to-face and online activities are designed to reinforce, complement, and elaborate on one another. Instead of treating the online component as an add-on or a duplicate of what is taught in the classroom, a portion of the total contact hours of the course are delivered online in lieu of on-campus meetings. Assignments and discussions should be available in an online environment. A full online course describes an instructional approach in which more than 93% of the required classroom minutes are delivered and conducted online using Big Sky Benilde. Full online courses do not require the learner's physical presence for classes, exams, and or other purposes integral to course completion. Which is better, synchronous or asynchronous learning? Neither is better than the other, as both are useful and recommended, depending on the nature of the teaching, learning activity. Asynchronous learning refers to self-paced learning at the time convenient for the learner. You, the instructor, do not have to be online all the time because you have uploaded the learning materials and created activities that your students can consume and complete at their own pace within a given time frame. This mode is ideal for pushing content, drills, personal reflections, insights sharing, and for the completion of many other challenging or thought-provoking activities. A purely asynchronous course could lead students to feel unguided and unmotivated. Synchronous learning, on the other hand, refers to meeting online with your students at an agreed-upon time and environment, either via chat, call, or video conferencing. This is ideal for consultations, quick discussions, clarifications, as well as touching base with your students. Regular synchronous sessions are necessary to maintain deeper and more personal connection with your students. Although when done too often, this can be quite stressful, not only for yourself, but for learners as well. Aim to strike a good balance between the two in designing your course instruction. Setting your expectations. Whether you're a novice or a veteran teacher, we've all been taught in the same way ever since we can remember. Inside the classroom, breathing the same air as our teachers and classmates. So it could be difficult to imagine how our students are going to learn from us if we're not there with them at the same time and place. In the same way, we must remember that a great majority of our students have also been taught this way since preschool. And a lot of them resist the idea of online learning because they also associate learning with being in the classroom with their teacher being physically present. Keep in mind that you and your students will go through a few adjustments in the process of transitioning to a fully virtual environment. So it's best to start with having and setting the right expectations for yourself and for your learners. Is my class 3 units, 3 hours worth? Do I need to be online for 3 hours a week? No. Learning is measured by the achievement of intended learning outcomes, regardless of modality. Time, therefore, becomes immaterial if the time spent online is not used to engage your students meaningfully. Try to find a good balance in scheduling your synchronous and asynchronous activities throughout the run of your course. That being said, expect that you will be spending more time online than you may have originally planned, especially towards the beginning, when you're still setting and adjusting your course content and activities. As your course runs more smoothly later on, you will notice how much of your time online will shift to providing timely and meaningful feedback to your students' output. I don't want to be online and available to my students all the time. How do I keep them engaged without sacrificing my personal time? Timeliness of communication and feedback matters greatly in keeping your students engaged, but you don't have to compromise your personal time in the process. Establish a clear routine, set boundaries, and stick to it. If you decide that you only want to be reached via a certain platform like Big Sky, then make sure that you are reliably available to them in that platform and that you reply in a timely manner. It also helps to make sure that you always provide complete information, clear and explicit instructions with plenty of examples and easy to understand content materials to reduce the amount of questions they may ask. Of your students in an online environment, your students may be classified in some references as digital natives, but that does not mean they are exempt from the anxieties and doubts of online learning. If you're adjusting, so are they. In many cases, it may be more difficult for them to adjust because they have been conditioned to learn under close monitoring until now. They may also be less motivated than you are to quickly adjust to online learning. Some could feel like they learn better with a group than when alone. Some may also be struggling with things that we cannot observe. Whatever the case may be, we need to be sensitive to our learners' needs and modify our methods of instruction. From the delivery of content and assessment to our methods of engagement and feedback to help our students learn better in a new environment.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing. Okay, so wait, let me close that. Okay, so that video is actually a result of the survey that we have conducted after the first 2 weeks of lockdown. Because during the first 2 weeks of lockdown, I remember nationwide there was a clamor from the students nationwide that stop online learning. It's anti-poor. It's something, no? And we were the last school in the Philippines who were conducting online. So our students were rallying in the Commission on Higher Education to let the administrations know, including us, of course, since we are the operator, to stop online learning. No? At first, my team was asking, why will we stop if we can do it? No? Of course, we don't want to compare ourselves with the others, but we bowed down to the request of the students with Shed's plea to rethink it over. So we did stop for a while, but we didn't stop actually, but we communicated well to our students because that's where the gap lie lies in the first few years of online teaching. So we communicated, and we uh, uh, we got their sentiments. Why is there some resistance? We also talked with the parents, and when the admin realized that suddenly this pandemic will not be stopping anytime soon, after 2 weeks, they called our team again. But now it's different. No, can you? They're asking us, can you really say that full online teaching really works? Okay, so then we did the survey. Then we told them in the video, we have to carefully choose the courses. We have to see to it that the teachers are ready and equipped, and of course we have to ready the mindset of the students. No? Of course, the students would be the most important client of or matter in these three aspects, but the most crucial two things should be addressed first, like choosing the course and preparing the teachers, and that has been one of the most life-changing tasks that we did for the past 5 months or six. I lost track of time already, because since March we haven't took a leave even for a day. We as we speak, we just finished our what do you call this? Our last batch of training for 200 teachers. But to date, we have successfully trained teachers, about 700 of our teachers. When we say successfully trained, meaning they have ready 3 weeks worth of digital materials that they can use already right now. No, when they finish they can deploy it tomorrow. No, that's what we mean by ready. So of course, designing a full online courseware is another thing, but at least we're assured that they have the skill sets that they can replicate the things that they've done, because we're running against time. So we've finished with that, but also we also trained 480 teachers nationwide to help our Commission on Higher Education. They requested our team to do that. So we're quite we're really busy for the past few months. No? So, but hopefully it's done. But tomorrow we'll be starting our another term, another semester again, no? On September 7. So we have to be ready again. But to make the long story short, we did a feedback from the teachers. We have a very favorable feedback. I wish I could share to you some of the qualitative feedback from the teachers who are new to online teaching. But the again, one of the things that I have to clarify first. Big Sky is powered by Brightspace. So, one good thing about Brightspace and Globe is they allowed us to insert our branding in their proprietary LMS, and so we get to call it Big Sky Biniled, no? So it can be aligned to our direction, and uh, to say that we are very much prepared with this pandemic is arrogant. So no institution has prepared for this global thing that has been uh, uh, a problem for us globally. But I think because of the things that we have done for the past years, we have a strong fighting chance to weather the storm. And it was aside from the good feedback of the faculty, I would like just to share to you again. We did an instrument 2 years ago. It's called Latch, Learner Assessment for teaching and courseware in a hybrid mode, because even without the pandemic, that's our direction already 4 years ago. So we did an instrument. We have validated, and hopefully we can what share it in a conference. But we piloted that instrument in evaluating online courseware and teacher, and we had a very favorable result for from the students. That's what I would just like to share, because it is actually a validation from the things that we have done from the past months. Let me just share to you in a very okay. I'm sorry. This is the as you can see, 32% outstanding, satisfactory, meaning teachers, 32% teachers are outstanding, 41% are very satisfactory, 9% satisfactory. Of course, we are not perfect. We have a 7% needs improvement. We have about 4,500 enrollees, and we have about 70% retrieval of this faculty evaluation. So not to brag, but we were so delighted that our students were able to appreciate the things, the hard work that we have done for the past months, because it's really for them. No? Of course, the teachers also are one of our most important clients, but at the end of the day, we do this for all our learners. So that's our journey for the past months. Again, as I said, we still have no rest for the past months, but it's quite reassuring that we think we're doing something right, and we're on the right track, and we're willing to share whatever things we've done, because as I said, we have helped SHED do a nationwide training, and the problem other schools or the it's a national problem. We need to help each other really weather the storm. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Tujal. I've seen a lot of educational institutions grappling at this time. And today, it's just really amazing how each institution, as I've said nga po, hindi siya labanan kung sino na yung mas magaling na school. Eh. It's already about how we can help each other at this particular time by sharing resources and sharing our expertise in terms of making sure that learning never stops. So with that, let me ask you some questions from our audience. There's the first one. Okay, the first one is, I think for me, where to get the LMS platform. So for those who are interested in accessing Brightspace, we can schedule a demo with you. Just email me at education@globe.com.ph. So it's education@globe.com.ph. And then another question is the app available in the Play Store? I think we have a mobile version of the app, right, Moses and Nick?
Yes, there is a mobile version of the app, but the app still needs to connect to the platform. Now, the app itself can be what we call a student app. That student app is called Brightspace Pulse, and that's for a learner or a student to have access to courses, to have access to the discussions, to quizzes, for example. Now, you still need to have the platform within your school, or not in the cloud. Sorry, not within the school. Your school will still need to subscribe to the platform, so that you'll be able to use the platform to create courses, to enroll your students into the courses, to be able to use that on the app.
Okay.
And
All
what
right,
I
next.
showed just now earlier during my demonstration, I was just using a browser, from the browser accessing to the platform. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Can I
Okay,
add, Mark? Can I add, Mark?
go
Uh,
ahead, Sir Tujo.
Even without the app, the site, the Brightspace site is mobile responsive. So that's help.
We can
That will
easily
help.
like
Yes.
use the browser from our mobile phones, right?
Yeah.
Thing.
Yes.
Is this applicable for Android only? I think this is both downloadable to the iOS and the Play Store, right? Both of them.
Or
Should
the
they
browser,
choose?
like Sir Tujel has mentioned, you don't need an app just to access Brightspace. The
Mhm.
app is specifically for certain tasks. What Tujel just mentioned, thanks for that. And because you've been a user of Brightspace, a browser is good enough to access the full LMS from any device, whether you're using a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop or computer.
Okay. All right. How about built-in gamification apps within the app? So teachers won't have to use other game apps for teaching. Probably she meant the platform. Can we use
Right.
gamification apps that can be integrated into the Brightspace platform?
Yes, Brightspace does come with game-based learning as an option that you can add on top of the platform, which enables you to build games or activities within game maps so that students can use that gaming kind of experience as their learning activity.
Okay. Thank you, Moses. All right. Before we end this webinar, I would like to ask like a message from each one of you. What is your message to our fellow educators and to those institutions that are really needing help at this point in time? Let's start with Nick.
Well, thank you, Mark. I guess the message, and I think Satujel kind of elaborated a little bit. I mean, College of St. Benilde have been using technology for some time. We're very happy it's our technology, but they've been using technology for some time. So they were already prepared, I guess, or partially prepared. I know Satujal hasn't had a day off for the last 5 months, but partially prepared for what happened when the pandemic hit, right? A lot of schools, obviously, across the Philippines were not prepared. They'd never used any kind of technology before. They'd never had to be in a position where students were needing to learn remotely and from home. And obviously, that situation, as I understand it, in the Philippines today, there are going to be no face-to-face classes until at least the end of the year, and so consequently, we're in the middle of this right now. So I think my message or advice to schools in the Philippines who have never used technology before and are being forced into this is to just get involved in some basics. Start doing things very simply and very slowly. And once you start getting involved in delivering teaching and learning using some kind of technology, and might be one of our popular applications, free platforms, et cetera. But once you start doing that, then you can add to it. And as Satujel quite rightly said, what they were able to do was to take an already established learning platform and really put it fully online and use the tools, the activities, the technologies that come with it to really enhance the teaching and the learning capability and get them back to where they were in a face-to-face environment. Because what you're trying to do with an online delivery is at the very least replicate exactly what you had face-to-face, and hopefully with the kinds of technologies that are available today, add to it, right? Now, you can't do that from zero. you've got to build it up. But the key is to keep adding additional activities, technologies, tools that will try to get you back to replicate that face-to-face environment that you were in. Because if you don't do that, the students can't learn. As I said at the beginning of what I said, teaching is not necessarily learning. So you've got to get yourself to the point. And as I said, you need to start off small, simple things, and then add as you go through time.
Thank you, Nick. How about you, Moses? What is your message to our educators, to our schools in the Philippines, for those who have not experienced integrating technology?
Yeah, I think I fully agree with what Nick has mentioned, what he has shared. And I think going beyond that is also, once you're at a stage, once you've started, you're at stage and you'll be more ready to move forward. And next thing I think you want to think about is, tracking all the learning activities that students have, gone through. By that, I mean, keeping the analytics, and that analytics that you can gather can become a very important part of the school, helping you understand better how students are learning, whether this works well for them, things like this kind of some of those examples that I've shared earlier on during the demonstration, right? That helps a lot in terms of help the decision making for the future for schools.
And lastly, Sir Tujel.
Okay. Okay. From a strategic standpoint, if you're, let's say, for example, what they call that? As I said, one of the most simple investment advice I still remember is never invest your eggs in one basket. But if we will have to identify the priority baskets in implementing system-wide digital learning in this pandemic, of course, first you have to look at your infrastructure. What are your capabilities and what are your limitations? So when we say infrastructure, it includes budget, of course. Where will you get it? No, of course, you can't have what you can't afford. No, so of course, start with, like what Nick said, is start with what you can use, hardware wise, connection wise, and all that. And from there, you have to look at the next thing that I'm speaking from a strategic implementation. You have to look at the leadership. Who will lead this? You have to identify it. No? Don't just go to the IT guy. I'm sure IT guys should be there, but if you will try to build a team, a small team in your school, of course there should be a technical guy, some that will take care of all the infrastructure and all that. But on top of that would be a person who's a capacity builder, and the next one is the content expert or the curriculum expert or the pedagogy expert. So if you have that in your team, it's not enough, of course, but it can go a long way. No? So then another important basket that I think you should also take a look into is the culture. No? So since of course we need to replicate what we are doing in face-to-face class, we also have to be aware that online environment is a totally different environment. No? There are certain things in face-to-face interaction that really won't work on online environment. So if you're trying to bring the entire institution to this kind of culture, what will it take in terms of culture building again or culture restructuring? It might seem simple, but it's actually the most difficult part of the strategy. Once you get to try to break down the existing culture. So, I mean, from a strategic standpoint, if you're one of the top management or the leaders in your institution, these are the things that you should look into. That's all.
All right, thank you, Sir Tujel. So it's really a culture, the culture that we need to change, our mindset as well. And of course, for institutions, make sure that, of course, you do not invest so much on all those technologies that are available. Make sure that you have a strategic plan in order to implement all these learning and technology advances in school. So um, I guess we're okay for today. And my concern now would be for the next couple of sessions, because next month will be our 9/7 run, 9/7 month. There will be more installments of e-Skwela that is happening. Also, let me invite you uh, uh, to attend our 2020 Forefront National Conference on Digital Learning. And this will give us several presentations on teaching methodologies. So registration is free as well. So with that, let me present to you our D2L and Globe video. So we already have 19 schools in the Philippines that are enjoying Brightspace as part of their learning management system and digital technologies. So take it away.
The new school is in! Beating homework deadlines, staying up late to review for an exam the next day, ultimate bonding moments with your classmates, and oh, the smell of fresh notebook leaves. It's fun to look back, sure. But right now, the only way to go is to move forward. Globe is set to make this school year a lot cooler. It's time we create better learning opportunities for students of all ages. And the way to do it is to ride the wave of technology. Imagine waking up to a world where you can learn your lessons even when you're at home, or just about anywhere in the world, all with the help of Globe and its partners. D2L has been transforming the way we see the learning environment for over 20 years now. They continue to keep up with trends and the ever-changing world of technology.
As an education company and a partner to thousands of educators around the world for more than 20 years, our key goal is to help students like you achieve greater heights when it comes to learning. Our Brightspace platform will aid you along the way with its easy-to-use features, complete with tools and functions that will surely give you a great learning outcome. And we're constantly seeking ways to evolve our learning environment so your experience will only get better. You know, honestly, I'm pretty excited for you guys to learn the D2L way.
Globe as an institution is dedicated to empowering every Filipino succeed in reaching their goals and preparing for any challenge they may face. Here at Globe for Education, we can offer you helpful information to empower you in making the decisions required to take your school to the next level. Our wide range of specialized solutions and technologies, as well as our business-grade connectivity, can fit your institution's needs regardless of digital readiness or maturity. Learning never stops, even in these changing times. So together, let's discover new ways to create, collaborate, and communicate. Together, let's recreate the way we learn.
We're so ready for our first lesson. The question is, are you?
Thank you so much, and I'll see you next month. So see you po mga ka-eskwela. Bye!